Empowered STEM is an A-level course provider, and we provide A-level courses in biology, chemistry, physics, and maths for those students that want to enroll in medical, dental, veterinary, financial, and engineering programs at the chosen university in the UK. So today I wanted to come into the live stream and I wanted to talk to you about time management for teens and the parent's role in helping the teen manage their time more effectively. Because when you think about it, the teens, your teen's biggest problem, it isn't ability, it's time. So if we're talking about A-level maths or biology, chemistry, or physics, they're obviously able to do those subjects. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been accepted onto the program at sixth form college. So they had to get a certain grade at GCSE in order to be able to enroll in A-level maths, for example. So it isn't ability that they have a problem with, it's time. And when you think about it, your teen may be up in their room, they may be studying, revising, got the books open, got the YouTube channel going, revision guides, everything else. It isn't so much that they struggle with time itself, it's that they struggle with structure. They don't know what to do in that hour of time that they've decided that they're going to be spending studying A-level chemistry, for example. So at the end of this live stream, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can help your teen build the habits of independent learners. What time management really is for teens such as yours that are taking A-level maths or A-level science courses, and how it impacts their ability to be successful in these courses, to earn the A and the A star, and how you can do this without having to worry about nagging your teen, reminding your teen, getting stressed out about it, and everything else. So if we're talking about time management for teens, the biggest problem that they have is time blindness and pressure. So if you're watching this one live, if you're watching the replay, by all means, put your comments into the chat for me. Talking about time blindness. Time blindness just means this. Time blindness is a phrase that's used when somebody underestimates how long a task is going to take for them to complete. And so your teen may, for example, say, well, I'm going to write this lab report for chemistry. This is what I'm doing tonight. It should take me half an hour. And it doesn't. It takes them 2 hours. Or I've got to revise for this upcoming test in biology. Right, I blocked out 2 hours to go through some exam papers. And really, they spend 4 hours doing it. This is what we mean by time blindness. This is what psychologists mean by time blindness. And so what they do, because they've got time blindness, not only do they not know how long it takes for them to complete a certain task, but they confuse being busy with being productive. And this is the one thing, by the way, at Empowered STEM that we pick up on our initial consultations with teens is this bit, is that they all say, yes, but Graham, the thing is that I am busy. I am up in my room studying all the time. Oh yeah, what are you doing? Well, I've got to reread the textbook. I've got a copy of my notes. I've got to color code everything. I've got to make flashcards. Oh, that's passive learning, by the way. People who follow Empowered STEM, we all know that's passive learning. It's not active learning. And so they're confusing being busy with being productive. Now, I do agree that your teen does need to reread the notes, the textbook. They do need to copy over the notes once, have a nice master set of notes to work from. And yes, they should have some flashcards if they're learning definitions for biology, for example. Totally agree. But it shouldn't be the main focus of what they're doing for hours and hours and hours. And so what happens then is that now parents, correct me if I'm wrong, mom and dad walk by and they see their teen working, but they're not seeing the result coming back on the homework set, the lab reports, the mock exams, the UCAS prediction grades. And so what happens is that the parents, what they do is this, well, let me help my son, my daughter out. let me pressure. Let me pressure them into doing something. Ask them, why aren't you working hard enough? Why is it not working? What are you doing with your time? I would call this pressure. They're applying pressure. They're nagging their teen. You're not studying enough. You're not revising enough. Why aren't you up in your room all day Saturday, all day Sunday, studying? And the problem is that what this does is that it fuels anxiety. Your teen gets more and more stressed out because now they're thinking, well, mom and dad think I'm not working hard enough, and I work really hard in my GCSEs, and I've been at school all week, and I'm just doing my best, and it's just not working. So what they need is that they don't need the anxiety from you pressuring them, parents. What they need is a bit of discipline. What they need is a bit of structure, okay? Because the goal is this. The goal, parents, by the way, is not for your teen to fill every hour. It's to teach your teen to make every hour count. So I've seen study schedules and revision plans come in from teens, and literally on Saturday, from 9 until 5, every minute, every hour is accounted for. There are precisely 15 minutes for breakfast or half an hour for lunch. Okay. You don't need to fill every hour with studying A-level maths and A-level science courses. What you do need to do is make sure that every hour counts. So if I go back to my usual, which is talking about going down to the gym, right? You don't need to go down to the gym and work out for hours and hours and hours on end, totally fatigue yourself, burn yourself out, pull a muscle. No, it's better to go down to the gym and work out strategically for an hour and make sure that when you're down there working, then every minute of that hour counts. Okay, it makes me think about a time I had a personal trainer. When you worked out with him, who's called John, when you worked out with John, every minute of that 50-minute session counted. You were either doing warm-up, you were either doing the exercises, you were doing extension exercises, you were doing the cool down. And by the time you left at the end of 15 minutes, you were completely and utterly shattered. As compared to some guys that go down the gym for 2 hours. I used to watch them walk around the gym. They got to get some water from the water cooler. They got to go talk to the woman over there. They got to do a little stretch out. They got to take a phone call. They got to update their social media. No, you could take what they did in 2 hours and compress it down to about 30 minutes. So, is there a science behind time management? Well, of course there is. Of course, there's a science behind time management, and there's so many different techniques out there. Stephen Covey has one. He's a classic one. The Einstein matrix, the Eisenhower matrix is the other one. These are all different time management techniques. But the idea is this. What you have to keep in mind, parents, is this, is that you need to cut your teen a bit of slack here. You do. Because at the age they're at, up until the age of about 25, all right, the prefrontal cortex, which handles the planning and the management, is still developing in teens, which means that they're not disorganized on purpose. They're not doing this in order to get a rise out of you. It's because they don't know any better. And so what they need then, if you understand that your teen's prefrontal cortex is still developing, then you understand that they don't need to be scolded. They don't need to be told off. What they need to have is a bit of scaffolding, a bit of structure. Okay? Because time management, when you think about it, time management is a skill. It isn't a personality trait. And so some people think that, oh, well, he's just one of these organized people. I mean, you should see his desk at work. He's got his plan set out. He knows what he's doing every day of the week, every hour of the day. He's got everything mapped out. He's got Gantt charts and everything else. And they think it's a personality trait. that people are just born that way. Well, it's not. Time management is a skill, which means it can be taught, it can be practiced, it can be strengthened. And if you teach your teen time management, it's probably one of the best skills you can teach them. Now, the one that I like for teens is this one. It's called the focus cycle. All right. Plan, execute, review. Okay. And so if we go through the steps, plan. What I teach is you plan the quarter. Imagine a funnel. You plan the quarter. You plan the month. You plan the week. You plan the day. And the night before, you know what you're doing the next day. And so if you plan this way, then what happens is this, is that teens who follow this method, by the way, in our courses at Empowered STEM, for that quarter, there's no surprises. They know when the final exams are, the mock exams are, the UCAS prediction exams are. They know when the tests are at college. They know when the lab reports due. They know when the homework is due. They know when the quizzes are. They know everything, every deadline they know. And they work 3 days, 72 hours in advance, which means that if they're doing work on a Monday, they're doing the work that is due Wednesday. And so they're always 3 days ahead. Now, the advantage of this bit is if you plan like this, if something comes up, there's no surprises. So let's say that on Monday, you are doing work that's due Wednesday, and something happens on Monday night. I don't know. Your teacher in A-level biology says to your teen, oh, you got a pop quiz tomorrow, or this is due, or something takes longer than planned. Don't worry about it because you've got buffer built in. And so by planning, you don't have unforeseen circumstances. Next thing is execute. You follow the plan. It's a real simple one. You follow the plan for the day. So if it says you're doing A-level chemistry for an hour in the nighttime, you're doing A-level chemistry in the nighttime for an hour. If you're doing A-level biology, you're doing A-level biology. Because everything is mapped out for the week, and you're just following what is due that day. Literal checkbox. Did I do A-level chemistry, A-level biology, A-level maths? Check it off. Did I write the lab report? Did I study for this quiz? Review. This has to be the biggest bit that teens forget to do. At the end of the day, at the end of the night, when they're done, the teens who follow the focus cycle, what they do is that they review. They look at the day. What did I accomplish today? What did I not do? They may need to adjust the plan. How did it go? Did I get the result that I wanted? Did I earn the A star or the A on that test, on that exam? Did I get all greens on the lab report? Did I know what the teacher was talking about in class? And if you do this, when teens do this, what they do is that they become self-managing learners. They've taken a step back from the teacher. They don't need the teacher like they did in GCSE to say, right, homework is due this date. Make sure you've read this chapter. Got to hand this in tomorrow. Come on, study this. No, they become self-managing learners. And it's a trait, it's a time management trait that can move from A levels up to university, number one. And number two, it helps your teen walk the pathway to the A and the A star. Because those students that get the A star, by the way, are the ones that are organized. And it's being a self-managing learner is what A levels demand. Now, Parents, what's your role in this? I mean, if you're buying into this, you say, got it. What's your role in this? Well, number one, parents, is that you do need to have a mindset shift. You do. And the first thing is that you need to give support, not supervision. I think we said this one before in previous live stream. It's this one. You are a coach on the sidelines. You're not a referee in the game. So you want to give support to your team, not supervision. Meaning, if you know that they're not that teams typically are not very good at time management, at organizing, well then help them create a steady schedule for the week and do it from a supportive point of view. You don't need to supervise them. You don't need to say, right, sit down on the kitchen, by the kitchen table or the dining room table, and then work for an hour. You don't need to micromanage them, parents. You honestly don't. What you do need to do is you do need to create structure for them, because it's what they lack, is that they lack structure. What you're going for is you're going for a rhythm. You're going for a pulse. You need to get so many hours of A-level chemistry done this week, or A-level biology, or A-level maths, or A-level physics. When are you going to fit it into your schedule? You don't need to create them a timetable that you create, by the way, not them, that you create, and then stick it onto the kitchen fridge. So if you created a structure for them, if you understand that their week has to have a pulse, that certain things do, you've created a structure for them. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to help them prioritize what's important. Now, Brendon Bouchard has this saying, spiking the needle. You've got to do every day what is going to spike the needle, what moves it. In other words, there's so many different things that your team can focus on if they're doing, say, A-level chemistry, for example, all right, that in the end, they can lose the forest for the trees. So what they've got to do is they've got to prioritize what's the important thing. Now, I know that Stephen Covey has a book on this, a very old classic book, okay? But for A-level students, you're thinking there's three things they've got to focus on: core topics, exam-style questions, and feedback loops, the top three. By the way, it's what we teach at Empowered STEM. All right, the core topics. So when they're setting up their study schedule for the week, they have to think, what's the core topic that I'm doing in A-level chemistry this week? Redox equations. Got it. This is the core topic. Have I pulled exam questions down from the internet? Have I set some time over to study, to revise, to use exam questions to strengthen my exam technique, my knowledge? And am I pausing? Am I slowing down? Am I thinking there's time now for a feedback loop? Well, how did I get the concept when the teacher was talking about it at school? Did I get the homework right? Is there something that I didn't quite understand in the homework? When I'm going over the past paper questions, did I pause? Did I slow down and look at the mark scheme and figure out exactly where I went wrong? How is this entire study schedule working for me? Is it actually driving me and getting me the results that I want? This is what I mean by feedback loop. Because look, at the end of the day, we think about this, right? Every teen, everybody in the world has the same amount of time in the day, and every teen has the same amount of time to go study A-level maths and A-level science, and they're all taking 3 different, sometimes 4 different A-levels, and they've all got different due dates and everything else. But at the end of the day, top students, they don't do more work. What they do is they do the right work first. So if you talk to a top student who's earning consistent A's and A stars on, say, A-level chemistry or A-level biology, for example, all right, the reason that they're doing that is that they figured out what spikes the needle, what makes it move. And so they're doing the right things first. And so when they're prioritizing their time, they're not getting stuck with passive learning. They're in active learning mode, and they're hitting the top 3, the core topics, the exam style questions, and the feedback loops consistently every time that they study, every time that they revise. Now, you're asking parents, what can you do to help then? It's this. Teens copy what you do. And so they don't listen to lectures. They don't listen to you nagging, moaning at them. What they do is they model what you do. And so it's known as pattern recognition. If you're somebody who's organized, if you're somebody who has their day structured, they're consistently hitting their own targets, their own goals, well then, if they see you doing it, then they will copy you and they will end up doing it. Something else you need to do is you need to check progress and not perfection, right? Meaning, don't ask, well, did you follow your timetable this week, son? Did you do everything on it that you should have done? Did you do your 7 hours of A-level chemistry revision? Better question to ask is, well, it's at the end of the week, you followed your study schedule. How did it go? What went well? What can we improve on? All right, because what you're looking for is to see, did they make some progress? Did they start walking the path to the A or the A star? Rather than did they maniacally check every checkbox in different color-coded pens to make sure that they've done everything. Now, there's some pitfalls that's associated with time management for teens. And number one then is overscheduling. Yeah, I saw one study schedule from a young man. It was color-coded like Skittles. Every color of the rainbow. All the different, he was taking 3 different A levels, chemistry, biology, maths, all the different A levels, all the different topics, all the different feedback loops, all the different practice questions. And it was this myriad of colors, and every minute was accounted for. And if you missed 1 minute, it was like dominoes. If you missed 1 minute, then the entire thing, it just collapsed. Number 2 is unrealistic expectations. If your teen thinks that they can write a lab report, say, in 20 minutes, you can't. Especially if they know that it takes them about 40 minutes to do it. Or if they think that what they're going to do is just do one past paper and all of a sudden they know it to the level of an A star. No, they're not. That's an unrealistic expectation. And the third one is when parents come in and do it for them. Parents come in and they begin to micromanage. They say, well, son, daughter, what we're going to do then, I've done this for you. Mm-hmm. And so what we're doing then is that we're doing chemistry this night and biology this night and math this night. You're doing your practice papers over here. You're doing your homework over here. You're studying over here. This is the time we can sit down and spend and binge watch Netflix. No, it's not going to work. Why? Well, because you've taken away autonomy. They're no longer doing it. You're doing it for them. They've lost control because you're doing it for them. All right. So it isn't your job to manage their calendar. It's your job to teach them how to manage themselves. So is it proof? Is it a story behind this? Yes, there is. Look, when we enroll students into our courses in year 12, especially in year 12, what we find is that they always seem to have the same errors that they're making with the time management. Number one is that they have endless revision notes. There's reams and reams of notes that they've copied from different textbooks and the YouTube channel, and it's all color codes and everything else. And number two is that initially managing their time. Some of them, they're not putting in the time, effort, and attention. Some are going overboard. They're going to burn out and everything else. And so what we do is that we help them put together a plan, a time management plan, a structured plan. And what we do in the plan, it follows the focus plan that we talk about, is that we show them how to put in blocks of time. We talked about the Pomodoro effect. Blocks of time. We talked them how to put in the key priorities, the Brandon Bouchard spike the needle. We also tell them how to review at the end of the day what went well and what can they improve on for the next day and adjust. And what we find is this, is that when we do this, then the grades start to move, and the C's move into the B's, and the B's move into the A's, and so the B's move up to the A stars. Okay, and it's a science behind it, parents. It's a science behind it, and is what we do at Empowered STEM. Now, if what I'm talking about in this live stream, if it makes sense to you, if you go, actually, you know what, Graham? Time management for my teen. Yeah, I learned something today. I did not know about, I was overcompensating. I was doing it for my teen and everything else. Right. So what you need to do is this. If you find these live streams beneficial, if you're on Facebook, subscribe to the Facebook page, and then you'll get notifications and updates, because we're always, once a week, we're always putting out these live streams, giving you the tips and the techniques and the strategies that you need to help your teen be successful in A-level maths and A-level science. Or if you're watching this live stream on YouTube, then by all means, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And again, you'll get all the benefit of seeing all the different live streams that we have there, and you'll be told when the next live stream is coming up. Now, something else to consider, parents, is that if you're interested in what we do at Empowered STEM, because you see me on the internet once a week doing these live streams, if you're interested in what we do and you're thinking, you know what, if this is what he's doing with the time management for the teens, I'm really interested in how he's helping the teens enrolled in his courses move from a C to an A star on a consistent basis. Well, then by all means, click on the link in the description. And it's an easy form to fill out. A member of my team will give you a call. And parents, as I say at the end of every live stream, it's not a sales call. What it is quite simple. It's a call that you can talk to a member of my team and have all your questions answered. And it's a very simple, structured conversation. We ask you how your teen's doing, what's their goals and their aspirations, how are they doing in A-level chemistry, what's the target grade, what grades they want to get, what universities do they want to go to, what they want to be on the outside. Top choice is doctor. And then you can ask your questions of the course. We'll explain to you how the course works, how we get these results on a consistent basis. And then if you want to proceed forward, you can make an informed decision. All right. Everybody take care, and I'll see you in the next one.